Good evening, students. Hope all of you are doing fine. Welcome to the analysis. Today's first shift JEE Mains 2021. Okay, hope all of you have done well. I'm dealing with the physics subject. I'll tell the analysis of that physics, and based on the memory of some of the students, we have collected some of the questions, so which I would like to discuss. Right. So here we have got the questions first year. Almost 50% of the questions are from here, and even other 50% questions here also. So, and many of the questions say it is almost like moderate questions. And of course, some questions are very easy also. That one or two questions which may require a lengthy calculations, little bit of lengthy calculation. Hope you have already had a good practice your exams, previous exams, institute, whatever the exams they are conducting. So you had a good practice and hope you have done very well in this exam. So let us see some of these questions today. Start with, we have the first question here. Particle of mass m strikes with a speed u perpendicularly at the end point of a uniform rod of mass M, length L, elastically, right? And after collision, small m mass comes to rest. Then you try to find the mass ratio of the small m by capital M. That is the question asked. So you know that this question is on the rotational dynamics. So collision of point masses with the rigid bodies. So how the point masses are colliding with the rigid bodies. So what are the laws that you are going to use here? So for that, so here we have a thin rod, end point of a uniform rod. This is capital M mass. So here I'll take a small m mass which is traveling with the speed u. Before collision, this small m is traveling with the speed u and colliding with this rod. This is before collision. And once after collision, this mass m is coming to rest. So then what will happen to the rod? So definitely this small m mass is giving some impulse to the rod. Due to that impulse, and that impulse is not exactly at the center of mass of the rod, isn't it? So after the collision, this is before. And after collision, when you take, clearly it is mentioned that small m is coming to rest. And since the rod is getting an impulse not at the center of mass, somewhere here, so this rod will have both translatory velocity, also it is also having some angular velocity, correct? So because whatever the impulse that it is giving, it is also acting like an angular impulse. When it is acting like an angular impulse, it also have a change in angular momentum, correct? Okay. So this is after collision. Now they are asking just to find the, what is the ratio of small m by capital M, such that all this happens after collision. Means small m is coming to rest after collision. Okay. So what do you do? So very simple here, collision of point masses, there is no external impulse at all. When there is no external impulse, definitely linear momentum to be conserved, and also angular momentum is also conserved. Simply use conservation of linear momentum as well as angular momentum. So conservation of linear momentum, initial momentum of the system mu, okay, and rod is not having any momentum. Finally, small m is not having any linear momentum, but rod is having linear momentum, so capital M. Velocity of the center of mass. You know, any rigid body, what is the linear momentum of the total rigid body system of particles? Means it's simply linear momentum of the center of mass, correct or not? Like that. So that is the first. And second, you also have the conservation of angular momentum. So about which point? You can take about any point. It is better that you are taking about the center of mass. Okay? Because initially if you take the angular momentum of this total system for the particle, because rod is not having any momentum, so linear momentum into perpendicular distance of the particle, mu into perpendicular distance, this is L by 2. This is the angular momentum of the system before collision. And after collision, when you take, this particle is not having any momentum, rod is having definitely some angular momentum because of this velocity of the center of mass, because about the center of mass you are taking, exactly. So angular momentum of this rod about the center of mass, you can write I omega, where I is nothing but ml square upon 12 times. So this is a conservation of angular momentum about the center of mass of the rod, and this was the conservation of linear momentum. And after this, you can take, because it is colliding elastically, know the relation for elastic collision, right or not? Approach speed is equal to separation speed along the line of common normal. That is very important. You have to take along the line of common normal. So this is supposed to be the common normal. So what is the approach speed along the line of common normal? U. And what is the separation speed along the common normal? If I consider this along the common normal separation speed, so this will be getting exactly center of mass V, and also you have L by 2 omega, right or not? This part of the rod is going to get, because the rod is having combined translator and rotational motion, because of that this part of the rod is going to get both V and L by 2 omega. So total is V plus L by 2 omega, isn't it? Right. There are the three equations for you. Okay. Variables, you have the variables V you have used, omega also you have used. So what will be the ratio of small m upon capital M? So that this is easily you can solve, because small m is equal to capital M V anyway. So these things you can substitute over here or here. Eliminate omega, and everything you try to get in terms of U, or everything you try to get in terms of V, so that U or V is getting cancelled and you will be getting the ratio, right? Okay, so this is our first question. So all of you have followed this. So all that calculation part and all, you have to cover many questions, right? Time. This is it, right? So next we are going to the next one. Bird is flying in the northeast direction with speed of 4 root 2 meter per second. Wind is blowing from north to south with 1 meter per second. Find the displacement of the bird in 3 seconds. So let us take this one. First, if you consider from the top view, completely from the top view, and if I am going to take this north. So first of all, bird is flying already at northeast direction, flying like per second. Then, because the wind is also blowing from north to south, in this direction the wind is also blowing, right? So definitely the wind will have the effect on the bird. So bird will get some resultant velocity, not the relative. This is what's supposed to be the bird. How we want to fly like this. Due to the wind, okay, there is a resultant velocity definitely, because the wind is blowing like this with 1 meter per second, right? So then you will get the resultant of these two. So if you take the resultant of these two, net velocity of the bird, so maybe it may be going like this. You have to get the resultant. Best way here, get the resultant will be just take the components of this, adding this two components, because it's on northeast 45 degrees, so 4 and 4. Here you can make it net velocity, take the two components, 4 and 1, 4, total resultant velocity will be 5. The net velocity of the bird will be 5 meters. So that is the, and then they are asking what will be the displacement in 3 seconds. This is the magnitude of velocity, 5 meter per second. 3 seconds, definitely it is going to cover 5 into 3, 15 meters. So it is going to cover some 15 meters to cover. Here, so the effect of wind is there definitely. So no need to take this parallelogram and take the resultant like that, trying to calculate the angle. That is a lengthy procedure. Instead, you can take nice components, work out. Right? Actually, you are adding this vector and this vector. Nothing but you are resolving this into two components. So you are adding this vector, and this. 4 and 1, 3. This. All right. Here I hope this question. Let us move on to the next one. This is the other question. Previous question was on kinematics. First question rotational dynamics first year, then kinematics. Now this question we have on gravitation chapter, the variation of acceleration due to gravity. If you observe this question, graph was given for the weight versus distance. When the object moves from Earth to Moon, okay, choose the correct graph. Of course, graphs were not, but let us see how the graph may look like. Whenever this object is moving from Earth to Moon, definitely there is a point where the net force will be 0. Since the gravitational force due to the Earth is exactly balanced by the gravitational force of the Moon. So definitely at that point it will be. So, and you know, whenever you are going away from the Earth, your G will increase, here it becomes 0. When you take G versus, this is supposed to be the distance, right? X, because they did not give a, we are checking what it can be. On the Earth it is 10 meter per second square, and at some point it will be 0 because net force due to the Earth and Moon both will be balanced. So first it will decrease there, right? After that again, now because of the Moon it will increase. This will be 10, this will be, because on the Moon it is 4, it is, right? Like that, whenever you are going to Moon, how the G value, and whatever the G value is there, it is of G value they are asking the weight. Weight is nothing but mass already given 10, so you can take 100 here, take 40 here, because it's a variation of G dash versus acceleration. Otherwise you can take the weight also. So as you are going away from the Earth, so weight will decrease until you come over here. It's a neutral point where the net weight of this is becoming 0, and after that again the weight starts increasing because the effect of the Moon. Correct? So like that approximately of graph. Okay, fine. So this is a question on the gravitation chapter. Right? Go to the next one. And again you have a question in the electrostatics. Charge Q is divided into a small q and capital Q. Find the relation between small q and capital Q such that the repulsion between them has to be maximum. So repulsion means both of them are like charges. Well, here if you take some charge, here if you select some Q charge, here Q, that's the repulsion. Repulsion is whatever the mutual force, that is definitely directly proportional to the product of those, right? So you can have Q into Q minus Q proportional to, remaining all are constant, right? Now if you want to get this as a maximum value, differentiate that with respect to small q, because you don't know small q. So dq df by dq rather, here you have charges. Total it is a capital Q charge. Okay. So you have to get force directly proportional to the product of these two. Force has to be the maximum, F by 0. Definitely. See, it's a, whenever two charges, some of them has to be Q, right? Their product has to be maximum. Each charge should be half of capital Q. Definitely. you will get small q has to be equal to capital Q. So many times we have been solving such. So whenever if you have sum of two numbers 10, what should be those two numbers? So the product is maximum. 5 and 5, 5 is 25. 6 and 4, 6 was 24. Like that, half of small q has to be, right? Okay. Go to the next one, electrostatics. So again, there's a question on elasticity. Tension in an elastic string is T1 when the length is L1 and T2 when the length is L2. This is actually the final length. Then they're asking what is the natural length of the string. Got the question? So some natural length may be there. So when it is subjected to a tension of T1, then its final length is becoming L1. And then when it is subjected to a length tension of T2, then its final length is becoming L2. Under such things, how to find the natural length? So elasticity, what did we learn? We have learned, let the natural length, you take it as sum. Then final length is L1. So what is the elongation? L1 minus L0 is elongation. Is equal to FL by AY is tension T1, L original length by AY. Correct? Similarly, second step, when the tension is T2, then the length is L2. So elongation will be L2 minus L0 is equal to T2 L0 by AY. Divide these two happily. Not AY is getting cancelled. So L1 minus L0 by 2. Right? One. You will get L0 in terms of both and L2 even options. This is a simple direct question. Basic longitudinal stress elongation based on that elasticity chapter is first year. Right? Okay. We'll proceed to the next one. I hope you have followed this. Elongation is equal to FL by AY, whatever the formula we know from elasticity. Okay. Leading to the next question. Here's the question in the nuclear physics. For a simultaneous decay reaction, that means the nucleus are decaying simultaneously. Let us say both by alpha decay also it is decaying, even simultaneously by beta decay also it is. So that time half-lives are 1400 and 700, of course maybe years. Then what is the time t when it becomes 1/3 of the? See the question. First of all, net rate of disintegration. So it is disintegrating both by some alpha decay or beta decay, both. So decay constant for particular decay is lambda1, for particular one decay is it's lambda1 if you take. The other decay is lambda2. So net rate of disintegration minus dN by dt, any instant net rate of disintegration, we know that is equal to rate of disintegration because of dN by dt because of lambda1, also minus dN by dt rate of disintegration because of lambda2 also. Net rate of disintegration is minus of lambda equivalent into n. Rate of disintegration, so lambda equivalent into lambda n. This is lambda1 n, this is lambda2 n. So total rate of disintegration is equal to rate of disintegration because of one decay, particular decay, and rate of disintegration of the other type. telling total net rate of decay process of dt equal to of dt because of alpha 1 or lambda 1 dt lambda 2. Okay. Now, so this is lambda equivalent into n is equal to lambda 1 n plus lambda 2. Rate of disintegration is equal to lambda into n, directly proportional to number of nuclei at that instant. Okay. So lambda equivalent first you find out is equal to lambda 1 plus lambda 2. Okay. Lambda 1 plus lambda 2, lambda equivalent is. And lambda 1 and lambda 2 you know because half-lives are there. Right. So what is the relation? Half-life is equal to ln 2 by lambda. Okay. So lambda, so when half-life is equal to ln 2 by lambda, so lambda is equal to ln 2 by half-life. Lambda equivalent 1 by T equivalent, half-life equivalent is equal to 1 by T1 that is 1400, 1 by T2 that is 1 by 7. Lambda equivalent you can find out, lambda 1 plus lambda 2. Already lambda 1 you know, or else you can directly put lambda equivalent is equal to, better, lambda 1 is what? Lambda 1 is ln 2 by T half, ln 2 by 1400 plus ln 2 by, keep it like that only in terms of lambda. Now they are asking, find the time when it becomes 1/3 of the original. Let us say at T is equal to 0, n naught number of nucleides are there. Okay. After some time T, how much time? It is becoming 1/3 of that. Now it will have an equivalent lambda of this, and an equivalent lambda of this. So you know the relation that n is equal to n naught into e power minus lambda t, decaying. Number of nucleides present after time t is equal to initial number of nucleides e power minus t. Here you have tried, it is simultaneously decaying by both, so lambda equivalent into t. Okay. So this you will get n naught by 3, 1/3. E naught into minus lambda equivalent, just substitute this. Ln 2 into by 1400 plus 1 is 7. Just you can get the value for that comes out to be 1 by 1400, 3 by 1400, not 3 is equal to power on of base E, right? 3 by and this is also ln to base E or ln 3 by 14. So T you will get. That will go up. So, right? 3 by 1400 will be there here. So by 3T. So 1400. Just solve this. Here I hope you can. That is based on the nuclear physics. Whenever they are giving simultaneous decay, directly you start from here. I have just tried to explain this, how you got this. So net rate of net decay constant is called decay constant because the first decay constant like that will be okay. Question will proceed. That was in nuclear physics. This question is based on the semiconductors Zener diode. Find the current through the diode. This how much current. So this is in the reverse bias. It's a Zener diode. See the symbol, and potential drop across the Zener diode is 50 volts. And whatever may be the current flowing here, compulsory the potential drop across this Zener diode has to be 50 volts. So when the potential drop is compulsory, that is a 50 volts. So here even across the 2000 ohms also it is 50 volts. And this is 50 volts. Out of 100, here to here, if it is 50, definitely here to here, the remaining potential drop, that is another 50 volts. Correct? Because total 100. This 50 and this 50. Correct? Now, just try to calculate this current now by 1000. In terms of milliamperes, we'll try to calculate 50 by 1000 into 1000. So is it not 50 milliamperes? And here if you calculate 50 by 2000, so milliamperes you want, so there you will get 25 milliamperes. Volts by 2000 ohms. In milliamperes, that will be in amperes. So 25 milliamperes, so the remaining 25 milliamperes. What is the current through this diode? It is 25. So here the basic concept, Zener diode itself, whatever may be the current, this potential drop has to be 50. Voltage regulator, Zener diode is acting like a voltage regulator. It regulates the voltage. Even across this 2000 also, always it will be 50, whatever may be the current, this current. Even if you increase this voltage also, this current may increase, but this will be always 20 amperes. Remaining will flow. So whatever the voltage you take it here, through this resistance always 25 milliamperes current only. So because across this voltage is always 50 volts. Is this particular question which is based on the semiconductor. Yeah, there is another question which is actually based on the circular motion, banking. So if you see this, there is a mass 800 kg and actually this block mass is 800 kg, or it may be a vehicle of 800 kg, maybe taking a turn because banked at 30 degrees, moving at maximum speed. Okay? Maximum speed. And coefficient of static friction is 0.2, cos 30. And what is the normal reaction? Okay, so generally this is a banking, means it is actually taking a turn. Of banking, so the vehicle is actually taking a turn, maybe of some radius. What is a normal contact? Or it may be moving at a maximum speed, so they did not mention or down. What are the chances? It may be moving up or it may be down or maybe taking a turn because the banking having a turn also. For all the chances. Suppose I am assuming that it is taking a turn. Vehicle is taking some turn. Consider that now if you take the forces, it will be there. More speed, it will try to skid away like this. So you will take the now. These are all the forces. So which components of force are responsible for the central force? And in the vertical direction, because there has to be a net force in the horizontal direction towards the center, because it's taking a circular path like that. Into the plane. Just imagine that. Fine. So the net force has to be towards the center, and in the vertical direction, net force has to be 0. Fine. So maximum speed. So this is the limiting value. This friction force is supposed to be the, and the limiting value of the friction force is equal to nu times the normal contact force. Right. Now what you do, resolve the forces into horizontal and vertical direction. Of course, the horizontal direction, right? So you can, net force in the vertical direction has to be 0, and net force in this towards the center horizontal direction, whatever the net force is there, that is providing the necessary centripetal. That is acting like a centripetal. Right? This is 30 degrees, so what else you can put it? Here, if this angle is 30, take 30, value is 30, cos 30, force n 30. And even frictional force also, there is a limiting value of frictional force Fl, which you have to take two components. Right? 30 Fl cos Fl root 3 by 2 sine. The net force in the vertical direction is 0. So n root 3 by 2 has to be balanced by FL by 2 plus mass is given. Now this FL is mu times normal contact. So easily you can calculate normal contact times normal contact relation, value of n, isn't it? And no need of calculating in the horizontal direction because they did not give any speed. They are not asking what is the force in the net force in the horizontal. So you can even further questions also can be raised like this. They could have even asked what is the speed, because when you know the normal contact force, what else you can do? What is the net force in the horizontal direction? N by 2 and FL root 3 by 2. These two components together are providing the necessary centripetal force. They are acting like a centripetal force. That sum of these two, N by 2 plus FL root 3 by 2 has what I am writing over here. Check it. Net force in the horizontal direction, which are responsible for taking a turn. N by 2 plus FL root 3 by 2 is acting like a centripetal force. So simply you can write v square by r. For that, if they really want to ask the velocity of that, definitely they should give this radius. Or if they give you the radius, they will ask the velocity. A velocity that they are giving, radius taken. Problem. Like this also I can frame another question. It can be for anyway, so you can get this is relatively easier because they did not even ask the velocity or radius. Directly they have asked the normal contact. Yeah, fine. Go to the next one. This is just recollect. So whatever the angle of banking, so it may be going without friction means exact speed it has to go. So that time only the component of normal contact only providing the necessary centripetal without any friction. But here it is, the friction is also there. Maximum speed they have given. It's a very good question. So you have to take the friction. Minimum speed means that time you have to take like that. Range will be there. When it is a rough surface, definitely there will be a range of velocity. If it were a smooth surface with the same banking, it is not taking any help of frictional force. That time you have to take only the component of normal contact. Right or not? So that time only this n cos theta is mg. Cos theta is equal to mg. And n sin theta is equal to v square by r. That's all. No question of frictional force. So we'll get tan theta is equal to v square by rg, which you know very well. So v is equal to rg tan theta under root of. This happens only for a smooth surface, banking. Okay, so the road slightly banked, inner surface, outer surface. That time, without the help of frictional force, how much velocity it can go? V square is equal to rg tan theta. So v is equal to the root of rg tan. That is for a smooth. If it were a rough surface, it can go a little bit more, it can go a little bit less. But if it were a smooth surface, then definitely it has to go only with this speed. Point. Good question. Combination of circular motion as well as the friction chapter. Right. So now we'll go to the next one. Again, see this question. Question is on the vectors. Almost like an elementary. Okay. Dot product a bar dot b bar is equal to magnitude of a bar cos b bar. Very important. Give the magnitude. Otherwise, the question is not proper because this is a scalar and because this is a scalar, cross product is a vector. That's why they have given or not. This is, you know, maybe cos theta. A bar dot b bar ab cos theta equal to magnitude of a bar cos b bar. So ab sin theta. Sin theta cos theta same implies when theta is automatic. Now they are asking what is the magnitude of a bar minus b bar. You know the magnitude of a bar minus b bar, the root of a square plus b square, okay, minus 2ab cos theta. 2ab cos theta is cos 45 1 by question. So a deuteron is there, alpha particle is also there, having the same kinetic energy, magnetic. They are entering into the magnetic. Find the ratio of the radius of the deuteron and alpha particle. These type of questions every time you will be getting. Whenever any charged particle enters velocity in a uniform magnetic field and the velocity is perpendicular to the magnetic field, you know very well that it is executing in the radius of that circular path, we know that it is. What is the radius of that path? Right? Only thing is that kinetic energy is same. This is a momentum. But they did not mention that they are entering with the same momentum or same velocity. They are given that they are entering with the same kinetic energy. So you have to convert that in terms of kinetic energy. Momentum you can write of 2 km. Better no? Momentum is written as root of 2 km. Now it is very simple. Radius, kinetic energy is same. Mass are different. Magnetic field is same. Right? So overall, radius directly proportional to root m by q. Now I can say R1 by R2, 1 represents for deuteron, 2 representing for alpha particle. Right? R1 by R2 is equal to the root of 1 by m2 into by q1. Here, according to this question I am solving, you know very well that take neutron mass as, what is the relation? Neutron mass, suppose is 2 times of the proton mass. Suppose if you take proton mass as m is the mass of proton, so deuteron will be 2m and alpha particle will be 4m. Similarly, when you talk about the charges, whenever you talk about the charges, what is the relation for the deuteron? Alpha particle is a helium nucleus. This is 4. Then you have charges, alpha particle 1:2, but alpha reverse you have to take 2. You are getting here so generally either these type of questions are asked or regarding the same type of problems can also be asked in de Broglie wavelength. In de Broglie wavelength also, whenever any particles are having certain momenta, definitely they will be acting like a waves whose wavelength is given by the de Broglie wavelength, and that de Broglie wavelength is equal to h by momentum, correct? So again here also this momentum can be written as root of 2 km. You can even ask questions on this. Same, these two particles are having same kinetic energy. Now then find the ratio of their de Broglie wavelength. Kinetic energy is same, and de Broglie wavelength is inversely proportional to square root of mass. Like that, similar type of formulas here, similar type of formula. This is de Broglie wavelength, this is a circular path in a magnetic field. Just to correlate, it's always better to have a proper correlation. What is the extent of asking? Okay. So for a spherical interface shown in the figure, there is a spherical interface. This is an interface. Spherical interface shown in the figure. 2 different idea of having refractive index 0.4. This is 0.4 refractive index. Another one is 1.2. Right? And here you are placing an object at a distance of 40 centimeters from the interface. 40 centimeters you are placing an object, right? And its radius of curvature, this is a spherical refraction. The radius of curvature is 30 centimeters. A good question, because generally most of the time the questions asked will be on the lenses or total internal reflection, like that in optics. And most of the students will ignore basic refraction formula, spherical refraction. That is the reason we have asked a basic question on spherical refraction. The lenses formula everybody will remember, mirrors everybody will remember, but what about the spherical refraction? Have to remember that one also. The ray of light is going from 1.4 to 1.25. So that mu2 by V minus mu1 by U is equal to mu2 minus mu by R. This is a spherical refraction. You have to use this formula substituting carefully. The ray of light is going from object and it is going from 1.4 to 1.25. This is the mu1, this is mu2 you have to take. And all the measurements should be taken from this pole. Pole to object, you are measuring opposite to the direction of light, because light is going from 1.4 to 1.25. Practical, right? So whenever you are measuring from pole to object, you are measuring opposite to the direction of light. So you have to use mu2, medium 0.25. We have to calculate that, minus mu1 for medium 1.4 by U value, pole to object, opposite. So how much? Plus 40 is equal to mu2 minus mu1 by R. R, you are pole to center, again you are taking minus. Please calculate this. You will get the answer. Only straightforward substitution. You should not make any mistakes. Convention. Proper, then is this. The question based on the spherical refraction. Final calculations and all. Basic idea of. Okay, we are moving on to the next question. So here is the question again, the first year thermodynamics. Thermodynamics, very important topic. Every time, whatever may be the competitive examinations or even JEE Advanced, compulsory you will be getting a lot of questions. Because in future also, especially engineering, when you take mechanical engineering, these branches, thermodynamics subject there. That is the reason every time we keep on giving. Today's paper you have got two questions. Let's see this. First one, 4 moles of a diatomic gas is heated from 50 degrees Celsius. Find the heat supplied to the gas. If work done by it is 0. As is doing, the network is 0. Not expanding, temperature is rising. Okay, but work done. You are giving a heat, and then the work done is 0. So, in which process you are supplying the heat? Process you are supplying the heat, but definitely because the work done is 0, the volume is constant. You are supplying the heat at constant volume. So whenever you are supplying the heat at constant volume, very easy for us to calculate now. Q is equal to heat supplied at constant volume is equal to PV delta T. Suppose if it was supposed to be supplied at, then NCP delta. This molar specific heat is depending on the process in which you are supplying the. How many moles? 4 moles. And what is the CV value for a diatomic gas? Come on, CV value for a diatomic gas, not 5R by 2. Monatomic it was 3R by 2. Atomic, R by 2. Delta T, yes. Okay. 500 R. That is one. The next one. So here is another question on current electricity. All that. There are two batteries, 140 volts and 90 volts, two batteries. There are some resistors, 20 ohms, 5 ohms, and there. Then they are asking what is the current through the 6 ohms. Through this, what is the current? So there are two ways you can solve. One is just you can assume current I1 over here, current I2 over here, then this is I1 plus I2, back I2, here I1. You can use the Kirchhoff loop and frame one equation, and this loop and frame the second equation, solve for I1 and I2, add this I1 and plus I2 because you want the exact at 6 ohms. Writing those equations, okay. So start from here, get back to the loop, minus 20 I1 times I2 plus 140 is equal to, this is the first equation. Second equation, I am taking this loop. You can either go like this or you can go like this. Going like this. Okay. 90 by I2, 6 plus I2 equal to. So you can solve these two equations. You can get the value for I1, the value for I2. Then your answer is actually I1 plus I2 because they are asking the current in the 6 ohms. This is one way. And the other way, if you want, you can also use like this. Like you can assume some with the conducting wire. This you can assume some 0 volts. So here also 0 volts. Here also 0 volts. Actually, it's a potential difference from here to here is 140. So you can assume 140 volts. Here you can assume 0 volts. And you don't know the potential over here. Just simply assume some V. Now you know that this current plus this current has to be equal to this current. So from here to here, what is the current potential difference by resistance? So here to here, what is the current? 40 minus V. Potential difference 1. Correct? And what about this current? This is 0. So here minus V 1 5. Add this current and this current, which equal to this is equal to 1 resistance. This is 6. Simple, no? Get the value for V. Once you get the value for V, then simply you can get this current, which is V minus 0 by 6. This is a pretty easiest method compared to your traditional stuff. So it's up to the students. Right? So when you have a thorough practice of all these circuits, definitely it becomes all the problem. Right? In this way, you'll get a little bit quicker. Go to the next one. So here there is a question which is based on the work conservation of energy and little bit of projectile motion combination. They cannot do all the questions, all the chapters. So generally they'll try to combine. Spring of force constant K is about 100 per meter is compressed to x equal to 0.05 meters by a block of mass 1 kg, compressing and released. This is the smooth surface. Compress and release. Find the distance where it falls. Compress and release. Pressing tinder, releasing, get some velocity and fall horizontal. What you have to. Here, why it is getting this velocity? Why it is acquiring the kinetic energy? Because it is compressed by some. This spring energy is converting into kinetic energy. Spring energy you are taking as half kx square, converting into half v square. Get the value for v. K is given, also given value for v. Once you get the value for V, with this velocity, it's a horizontal projectile motion, horizontal range. Okay, so this horizontal range is equal to V into root of 2h by g h. Right? You can get the velocity here, and after getting the velocity, the range also. Horizontal projectile range, top of a tower. Particle is projected horizontal from top of a tower where it lands. Yeah, fine. This simple calculation. Out. Question. So another question on the dynamics. I told you two questions. But consider the PV diagram, cyclic process. This is for a cyclic process. Find the net heat supplied to the system, the net heat, because at some the complete cycle. Okay, total cycle is constitutes of so many processes in which sometimes heat is supplied to the system, sometimes heat is rejected by the system. So that is the reason they are asking net heat supplied to the system. Here we know very well that for any cyclic process, first law of thermodynamics applied to a complete cycle. The net work done when you take net work done is always equal to net heat. Instead of asking work done, they are asking simply. So how do you find the net work done for a thermodynamic cycle? How do you find the net work done for a thermodynamic cycle? Area under the graph. Right? So area of this cycle rather. But here it is given, okay sir, it is a circle, so pi r square we know. But when pressure and volume is given completely, you have to get pi r square. One radius you are substituting here for volume, and the other radius you are substituting for, because PV, pressure into volume only, you are getting the work. This is why net heat is net work, which is equal to pi into this radius is how much here to here. So 30 to 40, so 10 into 10 power minus 6 the cube, and the pressure 20 and 70, so midpoint 5, and this is kilopascals, so convert it into pascals. That net heat supply. Any thermodynamic cycle, net heat supplied and net work done both are same, both equal. You will be getting the answer around 0.5. Options. So it's a memory based what we have taken. How you are solving? All right. Okay. So these are the questions what we have viewed from part of discussing as part 1. Have another part, the questions discussed. So right now, whatever the questions that we have procured so far, shift, just hope all these questions. And why this discussion? Because we also have in the next month another phase is also there, another session exam there. So wherever you are committing a mistake, just go through those areas, okay, work out those areas properly. Basics should be proper for all the students. In every chapter, basic levels minimum everybody has to prepare, because most of our questions are asking. Main is all about your base of that subject. How you got the base. So improve your base properly. Okay. Next session, try to increase your score more so get a good rank. And very much again.